It is Monday, October 13th, 2025. This is another postseason edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. Oh, boy. We are right in the thick of the grind. We love every minute of it. I just got to tell you, right? Sundays, I got to go down to NFL Network. It's where I work. But it is so fun when we've got the big baseball game, game one of the ALCS, just as big as the Sunday night football game, Chiefs and Lions in our theater room where we watch everything. I feel like my two worlds are colliding and I'm in like sports heaven.
It's so good for you. It's also good for anybody that enjoys sports because right now we are getting incredible baseball. Then we just talked about before the show. Everyone loves football, no matter the product on the field. Everyone just loves football. It's almost, I don't want to call it our new national pastime because that's not what it is, but maybe it is, Chris.
Well, Monday is a true challenge here. We've got game 2 of the ALCS. We've got game 1 of the NLCS, and we've got 2 Monday Night Football games. So you got to work on your computer, your screens, how they're set up, all your accounts. Just make sure you're well prepared. Get out in front of it, okay? Thank you. So let's get to it. Mariners looking to go up 2-0 in that best-of-7 ALCS. Yes, the exhausted Seattle Mariners. They got a gem from Bryce Miller, which we're going to break down momentarily. And they took a big old dumper on Toronto's home field advantage Sunday night.
High drive right field. Cal Raleigh has connected and tied the game in the 6th. It's the big dumper when the Mariners need him most.
Tremendous. I think, we've talked about just how resilient these guys are, and tonight was one of those instances again. Great job all around. Coming back tonight and getting game 1 is obviously a big momentum shift for us. And
yeah, Dan Wilson, you are right. A huge momentum shift. Some people would say they stole game 1. Not me. I'm not going to say that at all. But I will tell you this. The Toronto fan behind home plate who was wearing
no. What was he wearing, Chris?
I think it was to plug up a big dumper shirt.
How do you know what that is?
Somebody had to tell me about it on the internet. Thank God for the internet, educating people. We need that sort of stuff. This started and ended with Bryce Miller's performance because when I went into it on 3 days rest, I'm thinking, God, if he can give them 4 innings somehow, and just even if they take a loss, but they don't have to pitch the 9th inning, and he's able to pitch half of the innings for Seattle, that's going to be such a huge win in a long series. And what does he go out? 6 innings. After Springer clicks him on the first pitch of the game, he nails the rest of the way. What a wonderful performance by him.
Yeah, this was like 2024 Bryce Miller. And you're right. After that first inning, Springer gets him. There's more traffic on the bases, a couple walks, and for him to be able to get out of it, one run, that changes, the demeanor of the game, the whole feel of the game. If Toronto's able to go out there and put a crooked number up, I think we'd probably see a different line out of Bryce Miller. But, Cal Raleigh had a good meeting, settles him down a little bit. He gets out of that. And then it was just like he was pumping strikes. Toronto was very aggressive at the plate, did not work the count very often. You have to credit Bryce for filling up the strike zone, but also, I don't know if that was the Toronto game plan or they just got swing happy, whatever it was. I mean, it ended up being, I believe it was 100 pitches by the Mariners to get through the game. That's crazy.
That's incredible. They combined with the Tigers, threw almost 500 pitches in that 15-inning game 5 for Toronto to go out there. I mean, to me, the game plan seemed off base. I mean, this isn't Tarek Skubal filling up the zone, and when you see one, you got to go get it. I would have definitely tried to work count. Particularly, he had a 27-pitch first inning.
Yeah, he looked really good. His stuff was playing up. I don't know if that was the playoff adrenaline, whatever it was, but again, it kind of looked like 2024 Bryce Miller, who had an excellent year. I know this year didn't go great for him, but this is the advantage that the Mariners have on most teams is the depth of starting pitching. I mean, this has been their 5-6 starter this year, and he comes out and throws a gem like that. So, whatever their game plan was, it didn't work. and they kind of have to go back to the drawing board a little bit about that. But I think the biggest thing is, you just tip the cap to him. And also the Mariners pitching wasn't in as bad a shape as I think everyone thinks, because they went 15 innings. They had Logan Gilbert. He threw 34 pitches in that game. They had Luis Castillo at the end. He threw a bunch of pitches. So, they had some of the starters come throw those innings. So the bullpen wasn't in as bad a shape maybe as you would expect from a 15-inning game. They didn't really need a lot of them because of what Bryce did, but a crazy, a delirious, gutsy win from the Mariners is what I'll call it, because I think a lot of people expected them just to show up and just kind of say, wow, we're exhausted. What we didn't know what to expect out of the Mariners, and they came and showed us why. They're obviously a serious force.
Well, you don't have time to be tired. I mean,
Yeah,
we're talking about
or nervous
or anything else, but it's just the way that Toronto, they dismissed the Yankees in 4. They set up their pitching perfectly. Everybody's well rested. Their bullpen guys are well rested. They didn't have to travel at home. Seattle's got to zigzag across the country. They started in Seattle. They go to Detroit. They go back to Seattle. Then they go to Toronto. All Toronto had to do is just make sure they get through customs okay and hop a 50-minute flight to New York City for their short series. So, everything was against Seattle. It's just interesting and funny how things work out. If Brian Wu is okay, Bryce Miller has an entirely different role on this team. Certainly in the divisional round, he would have made the playoff roster, but who knows what sort of role he would have played. He would have been some sort of interesting bullpen piece because you would have kicked Kirby back to the 4 spot, but Wu was not healthy. And so now he goes out and he sets the tone. A little bit more about their bullpen, which we said they only threw 73 pitches, all their pitchers, the rest of the game, which is ridiculous for the last 8 innings. Brash and Munoz this postseason, not sure if you've paid attention to their numbers. 12 innings pitched, 1 hit, a .75 ERA, and 13 strikeouts. Man, if you can nail down those last few spots, particularly when you're asking some guys to move out of their normal regular season positions, that is so good for them.
Yeah, both these guys, obviously. Munoz had an incredible year. Brash, to me, has some of the best stuff out of a bullpen guy that you're going to see. It's just different than the most looks, the way that slider, sweeper, whatever he calls it, works. So, yeah, if he is locked in, it just becomes difficult to barrel him up, and we saw that last night. But incredible efficiency from Seattle right there. And even on the offensive side, they didn't need a ton.
No, and they didn't get a ton. I do want to get to Kevin Gossman, who gave up the solo shot to Cal Raleigh. Then he walks Julio, and they come out and they take him out. He was at 76 pitches. They bring in the left-hander Little, who had a really, really good year for Toronto, and that was to flip Polanco. So Julio moves to second on a wild pitch, I believe it was. And they turn Polanco around, who's actually got an OPS close to 900 from the right side. Now, he's got more pop because he had more bats from the left side. I think he hit 21 homers or something like that from the left side. But they flipped him around. Gossman only had 76 pitches. He had been cruising until the homer and then the walk. And I know that managers in the postseason, they get antsy. They'd rather go out and pull him too early than too late. But I hated the move at the time. This isn't really revisionist history. I was sitting there saying, God, why are you taking him out? He looks so good.
If he said he was chasing swing and miss, which again, Polanco, I don't think he has a ton of swing and miss from either side, really. I don't see him as like a huge free swinger. I see him as a guy who can work pretty good at bats, especially in clutch situations. We've seen that now. Maybe I don't question the move, but maybe I question to who he went to. And I know you have Naylor backing Polanco up, so maybe you could have said, "Hey, once Julio gets to second base, you walk Polanco and get a lefty-lefty matchup." Maybe that's what you would have done. I think that's hindsight right there, because putting an extra guy in base, you don't always want to do that.
Right.
But maybe you go to someone different in the pen. Maybe you bring in a guy like Varland, who I feel like has the stuff to go out there and really get swing and miss. Like Luke Little's not, to me, like, a power pitcher in that situation. I feel like is maybe the answer. I don't know. We micromanage a lot the next day. I think you just really got to say, good job, Jorge, for working to get a bat and coming up clutch again.
I just hated taking.
Who would you have went to? Or you just would have kept Gosman in?
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's
He would,
you're right. You managers want to push the button a lot.
but when a guy looks as good as he does, like if I had told you before the game that Kevin Gossman, what did he end up throwing? He got into the 6th, right?
I do think that Polanco has shown the ability to lay off some of those vertical off-speed pitches. Take Tarek Skubal's changeup, for instance.
Right.
He did a really good job laying off that. I think you could compare those two. Gossman's splitter. Maybe that was in his head. I don't know, man.
I don't know either. All I can tell you is Seattle fans are feeling great, and they should. I actually, one of our researchers who worked on our show last night, Dante, is a Seattle guy, and he came in wearing his big dumper jersey to work and the whole bit. And this is a kid who's in his late 20s. I was like, you don't even remember the last time they were in the ALCS? He goes, nope, I don't. So you have to remember, these are people that are experiencing this sort of stuff for the first time, and it is really, really fun to be around them when they get to enjoy it. That's cool.
You know what? I would love for my Twins to be able to get to the ALCS.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about them because
when's the last time they got to the ALCS?
To the ALCS
91 when they won it?
No, it was 2000. I think 2002, right, when they lost to the Angels.
To the Angels?
Didn't Adam Kennedy get them?
That was the Twins
for a 3-homer game. Sawyer, you can look that up. I'm pretty sure that Kennedy hit a 3-homer game against them. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about this. Today's episode is brought to you by Built. By now, you've probably heard of Built, where you can earn points for your monthly rent payment. But did you know they make it possible for you to get more outside of your home as well? By paying rent through Built, you can earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and oh so much more. But here's the great thing. It doesn't stop there. Built is about making your entire neighborhood more rewarding. You can dine out at your favorite local restaurants, earn additional points, get VIP treatment at certain fitness studios, enjoy exclusive experience just for Built members every month. Now, Built is turning a monthly expense into an opportunity to earn rewards and discover the best that your neighborhood has to offer. Your rent, hey, it's finally working for you. So earn points on rent and around your neighborhood, wherever you call home, by going to joinbuilt.com/today. That is JOINBILT.com/today. Make sure you use our URL so that they know we sent you and you can enjoy the benefits of Built. Thank you. ALCS Game 5, 2002, Adam Kennedy, 3-homer game.
Love it. I love AK.
Good Valley guy.
Yeah. We were talking about the Valley. We were talking about CSUN and the Valley. I was watching the game, that long Detroit-Seattle game with my good buddy Joe Ryan, who I sent the picture.
Yes, you did.
To you. And he's a CSUN guy. Do you know that?
Yes, I did. I remember talking to him about that. Yeah.
We had a bunch of matadors at that dinner. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's a lot of hotness in one picture. I don't know if the world can handle that. So there's a lot going on there. Let's get to Game 2's pitching matchup. Trey Savage, Logan Gilbert, who was one of the heroes in Game 5 against Detroit. He threw 34 pitches out of the pen. So, Logan, how are you going to handle Game 2?
We talked about it today, and they basically just asked me if I was good to go, and I said yeah right away, and they wanted me to see how I felt in catch play, if my arm felt normal, and it did. So it was kind of unusual circumstances a few days ago, but I don't know, treat it as a bullpen, or very high intense bullpen, and hopefully just be feeling good, ready to go.
I'm sorry, that I have to laugh at that. Treat it like a very high intensive bullpen. Yeah, well, if you screw up, then your off season starts. I don't think that's how most bullpens go in in the middle of June.
Yeah, no, I mean, and also asking, how are you feeling? Are you ready to go? What's he going to say? Nah.
Right.
Not great.
His answer was, not that great, Skip. Really not. You might have to go to plan B.
We got to give these guys truth serum. Just see what they say. Oh, fuck, man. You threw me 34 pitches in a win or go home game. It's not the same, coach.
All right. So he threw 34 on Friday, had Saturday and Sunday off, just a little light work. What do you expect out of him on Monday? What's realistic here?
As far as like a line,
I mean,
or like a stuff playing,
is it 4 innings? Is it
he
60
hasn't really
pitches?
gone deep into games at all this year. I think his longest outing of the year was his first outing of the year, where he went 7 in the playoffs. He had to start against Detroit before he came in relief, where he went 6, and that was 85 pitches. I mean, look, a great start for him. He can mirror that. He could go 6 innings. He can throw 85 pitches. I think once you get up around that pitch number, I think you're really going to have to look at, what his stuff looks like. Is it still coming out of his hand crisp? Is the velo still there? What kind of pitches? All the things that managers typically have to look for. I think you have to get a little bit more intensive with a guy who just had that as his quote unquote bullpen day. So I would say, if I'm going to guess his line, and he's pitching well, and like it's a regular kind of start for him. I mean, after the 5th inning, there's going to be bullpen up, and they're going to look at him very, very closely after that.
Do you expect Toronto to try and work the count a little bit more?
I don't know, dude. After this first game, I think you got to make the adjustment a little bit, but there are times, Chris, where you just can't. If guys are filling the strike zone up and making you make swing decisions, that's just how it goes. And you, as a hitter, you can't dictate that. You can say, yeah, we want to work counts as much as possible, but you're not going to go up there and just take a strike, and you're not going to go up there and get behind the count. Like, that doesn't work either. So it's based on the pitcher. You can say that, hey guys, let's grind at bats out, let's work the count. But in reality, that means nothing if the pitcher is just throwing strikes and you have to put the ball in play. Like, you can say that, but again, it's not as easy as just going up there and saying, yeah, I'm going to put my hands like this, and I'm not going to swing the bat and wait till 2 strikes. You can't do that either. So it's how does he look? If he's around the zone a ton, go out there and just try to put good swings on him, get guys on base, try to put pressure on him that way. I think that was one thing that Toronto didn't do the first game. Get Bryce Miller in the stretch a ton. Or either team didn't. At one point, there was 22 batters in a row set down last night. So, like, that's what I would say. Try your best to get guys in the stretch, wreak havoc on the base pass a little bit. That's one way to get guys out of rhythm. But, in reality, you go as the pitcher goes.
These guys for Toronto, they don't have a ton of experience against Logan Gilbert. Like, the most plate appearances the guys have, like Vladdy and George Springer, 15 at bats, but they do have a decent amount of success. Hey, by the way, another pitcher that Vlad Guerrero Jr. has decent numbers against, 6 for 15 with a couple of bombs against Gilbert. So it's going to be an interesting first inning. George Springer has clicked him before as well. In fact, collectively, the guys on Toronto's roster, an 886 career OPS against Logan Gilbert. So we'll see how that goes. For me, Yesavage, 22 years old.
You still can't say it.
What? It's Yesavage.
Yesavage. That's what you say.
No, it's not.
Yesavage.
I've called him Yesavage before.
Yesavage.
There are just some names that I can't say, and I'm not doing it to be a jerk or anything else. That's Yesavage.
You crushed it. Just call him Trey.
How about Trey? Trey Y. Why? Did you see his press conference Sunday?
I mean, I saw the clip of it, yeah.
That was the details are very, very sketchy, but for people that didn't see it, here's a 22-year-old kid getting ready to talk about starting game 2 of the ALCS. And he's saying, I want to start off by saying that my family doesn't deserve the type of treatment they've been getting. It sounds like there has been a lot of online bullying for his parents, his siblings, his girlfriend. And we've had players this year speak out about it, right? Lance McCullers talked about it. There was certainly somebody else I remember who was a fairly big name who said they had to deal with this. And now Trey Y is doing it as well. I mean, I don't know what to say about it anymore. I've become so disheartened with that part of the world in which we live, that a 22-year-old kid who should be basking in reaching the pinnacle of his profession in such a short amount of time has to take time out of his press conference to address this, because obviously it's weighing on him.
I mean, if you're an online bully, that's the straight most loser behavior that you can have.
Horrible.
We talked about before the show. Like, if you just pretended like it was real life online, you wouldn't say most of the things that these people say. I get it all the time as well. And on
Yeah.
our shows, the comments are sometimes ridiculous, especially in the postseason. I've learned to have very thick skin with all of it because we've been on the internet now for quite some time. But it's annoying, and just people like stop. Eventually some of that stuff's going to come out, and it's going to be linked to your actual life, and you're not
Yeah.
going to like it. So think about that.
Yeah. Liam Hendricks is the other one for the Red Sox who talked about he and his wife getting horrible threats. And people will say, well, that's just part of your profession. It really isn't. It really isn't. And
It's
so,
not.
and I'm not, once again, and for us to be talking to our audience, because I certainly hope and I don't believe that that's the sort of behavior that they would talk about. And people say, well, you're just being an old dad. This is how we do it. Nope. That's not how you do it, because it will cost you something somewhere down the line. I talk to my kids all the time. The minute you hit send, now you can disagree with the opinions. I put stuff out that people don't like all the time, and then they start calling you names and say shit about your family. I just sit here and go, I have an opinion about your sports team. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's-
talking about anything else outside of that. Like, why does it? You must have a really sad existence in order to worry about that stuff. But we bring it up because a kid took a couple minutes of his time to bring it up. So now let's talk about the baseball side of this with him. Do you think he's going to be squarely focused on the task at hand, or because he's 22 and the moment is so big, and for the first time he is pitching in a huge, like must-win game?
We always say that after they lose the first game, the second game is must win. I truly don't believe that, especially in a 7-game set. It's a big
Okay.
game, but he just pitched in a big game and was dominant against the Yankees. 5 1/3, 11 Ks. Do I think he's going to be thinking about online bullies when he's on the mound? I do not.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out ready to go. I think the city of Toronto is going to show up again and support their guy and their team. They were phenomenal last night. They just didn't have a lot to cheer about. So, if the bats wake up for the Blue Jays, you Savage on the mound. I think he goes out there and he has the potential to have an incredible start. He's got that type of stuff. So, I'm looking forward to that. I want to see Logan Gilbert and I want to see a Savage both have their stuff, and then put it on the hitters to have those quality ABs.
Very quickly, what would your approach be if you're a Seattle Mariner and you haven't seen this kid other than on video?
This guy's like my nightmare. Like that arm angle is like my nightmare. I don't like ball coming from way up top and then heading downhill. I mean, you have to say get the splitter up, but he can live with the fastball at the top of the zone too. It's a tough at bat. You got to give him the strike zone, and he only walked one against the Yankees, so like he can do that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I honestly, my first at bat, I wouldn't give it away, but if I hadn't seen him before, I would take a few pitches. I'd want to see them before I go and offer. Like every time that I got up against a new guy and I was ultra aggressive, and then you kind of like waste your first at bat. Say you get out in 2 pitches, 3 pitches in your first at bat, you feel like, damn, now like the rest of the game, I can't do that again. I need, like, my first at bat, I would take a strike probably, depending on the situation.
Okay.
It's not a great plan, but it's a plan.
I know you hate predictions. I don't care at this time of year. Are we going back to Seattle 1-1? I'll answer it. Yes. There you go. Yep. I think
How am I supposed to answer that?
you either answer it yes or no. It's actually relatively easy.
I
think so.
Okay. There's something about the Seattle team. They're getting hot right now. They have that like we talked about, that delirious momentum right now. I don't know. Maybe I say no. I say they go back 2-0.
Wow. Okay. I think it's 1-1, and I think Toronto puts at least 5 on the board here in game 2. Wouldn't surprise me if they put up a 7th spot. Touchdown.
Love that for you.
And maybe
I could see the same thing happening, Chris. It's playoff baseball.
Yeah. Okay. I dig it. Hey, did you hear this? Based on hundreds of millions of real-world tests, the experts at Ookla Speed Test, they have spoken. T-Mobile is now the best mobile network in all of America. So you can keep up with all the Major League Baseball postseason action from the ballpark to the backcountry. Why? because T-Mobile has got the most advanced 5G, the most towers, and a signal that goes farther than ever. So whether you're streaming the game, out and about, checking stats on the road, or even experiencing ballpark perks with Magenta status, you're ready to stay connected wherever your fandom takes you. Head on over to T-Mobile.com/network to switch to the very best network around. All right, we switch our attention to the NLCS, which gets going Monday night in Milwaukee. The champs are taking their show on the road. Of course, the Brewers, they won a dramatic Game 5 in a central showdown against the Chicago Cubs.
Cubs down to their final out. Carson Kelly grounded to short. Ortiz makes the play. Ball game over. The Brewers will play for the pennant.
You know, it's kind of fitting that today's score was 3-1 going into the ninth like it was last year. And I was like, man, we got to slam the door this time. We can't have deja vu. And, you know, credit to your eBay for going out there, Chad, Miz, you know, Trev, everybody just going out there and just stepping up and being able to perform in those moments is awesome.
Yeah, Christian Yelich, the most veteran Brewer around, is the guy who described it perfectly. This was won because of their bullpen and what they did, right? Mizorowski, who I was a little surprised to see him come in the second inning. I thought maybe they would have allowed somebody else to throw the second, kind of get him toward the third, something we saw a little bit earlier in the series. Gives up the game-tying homer to Suzuki, and you're like, oh, man, is this the day it's going to fall apart? Well, he ends up pitching 4 innings, and that was the only blemish. He and Patrick, another rookie, they combined to get 17 of the 27 outs. It just worked out perfectly for the Brewers. What an atmosphere there on Saturday.
Yeah, I kind of like the pitching moves that Murphy threw out there. He just went with stuff like, hey, come get him. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with some stuff like starting McGill, big old dude on the mound, very intimidating. And then you got your rookie who's got obviously electric stuff coming in as well. You're right about that Seiya Suzuki homer. That thing was loud off of the bat. But then he settled in there. Chad Patrick, to me, I think he gets lost in the shuffle. But what he's been able to do as of late has been really, really incredible. I don't think he's given up a hit since September 24th. That's my notes that I have on him. Maybe fact check me on that. But he's also a guy that puts out the fire. The runners in scoring position, he's lights out. So you have a guy you can trust in those situations. And you're right about, Uribe throws 2 innings. Ashby comes in. Like they had a formula of that game that just totally worked out for them. So I think Murphy deserves a lot of credit for kind of like pushing the right buttons and relying on his guys. It was nice.
Yep.
Bullpen game to win it all.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Toronto do it in Game 4 up in New York, and then Milwaukee in a do-or-die game, and they did it, and they celebrated, and they partied, and they hung the L on the Cubs. You have a problem with them hanging the L? Did you see the flag?
I did not see that.
Yeah, when they took the picture on the mound, as every team does when they advance, they're holding the L flag.
I love it. I mean, it's a rival.
There's a lot of stuff.
Rival.
Yeah, well, listen, we had 2 division rivals square off against each other, right? The Blue Jays and the Yankees, and then the Cubs and the Brewers. When you see each other as much as you do, and particularly Chicago and Milwaukee because of the managerial situation and being separated by 92 miles, there's going to be a lot of shit talking, and the Brewers did not stop. Yes.
I want people to stop using the phrase living rent-free in your head.
So stupid.
It's like, that's sports, dude. Yeah, you think we're supposed to not like you. And when we beat you, it's sometimes we're going to rub it in because it's sports. Don't you want rivalries? Like, that's what it's meant to be. Oh, we don't think about you when we win. Okay, great. Well, so what? Like, it's meant to be entertainment. It's meant to pull on your heartstrings. It's meant to make you feel a certain way. Sometimes it's happy. Sometimes you're pissed. That's what it's all about, dude. That's what makes storylines. It's fun. Rent-free in your head, it's a silly statement. Stop using it.
You know what else is a BS one? Well, this didn't age well.
Oh, God.
Like, folks, you're not right in everything.
I think we're getting really ornery right now.
We are a little bit. We are. But if people stop and think about it for a second, it's actually right. Like, yeah, I get it. Hey, if I make predictions for a living, I'm not going to go 100 out of 100.
Oh my gosh, dude. This didn't age well. This aged like milk. I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's like old milk. First of all, nobody drinks real milk anymore. So if you
a
could say
lot of
it aged like oat
people are
milk,
drinking like raw milk now, Chris. Okay, men are men again. Let's go.
I don't know. Do
I
you
still
drink?
don't drink.
Do you
I've never drank. I'm not a milk guy. I'm just not. I never have been.
almond milk?
Yeah, like with my cereal, I'll do. I mean, I still will drink. Our kids drink real milk, so I'll still use it in my cereal. But that's like, and in protein shakes, that's like the only milk I drink though.
Your kids drink whole milk?
I
Skim?
think they go between whole milk and 2%, depending on what
2%.
Olivia
Okay,
buys. I don't know.
good. All right, let's move back to the baseball. Now the Brewers get to square off against the defending World Series champs. Of course, LA, we know all about them. They got the household names and the MVPs. The Dodgers know, though, it was Milwaukee that had the best record in baseball.
They're just gritty, they're tough, and they take on Murph's personality. And they've got some guys that can slug. They've got some athleticism. They really defend well. They can pitch well. So it's like they're going to be in every game. They've got complete buy-in, and so they're hungry. So those things are, components that are scary.
They're the most dynamic team in baseball. They got. I mean, I don't know how many of our guys would make their team. You know what I mean? But it ain't about that. It's about how we come together as a team and compete. And I think we'll show up.
Oh, come on, Murph. I don't know how many of our guys would make their team. Can we really live off of that in this series?
I think that's the identity, dude. They're playing that underdog. That's the way that Murph's able to get them to buy into an underdog mentality when they had the best record in baseball it's you know what? It's a masterclass in leading right there.
And when
like, if he's not saying, guys, we're the best team out on the field, he's saying we're the worst team on the field. Like, go prove me wrong. Like, that's crazy, dude.
They went 6-0 against the Dodgers. Now, they haven't played since the first series after the All-Star break, but they played 6 games and they won all 6 games. It's very reminiscent. A lot of people that are consumers of our show might know the name Lou Holtz. They don't really know who he is except a kind of a cranky old college football head. Well, he is a very, very famous head coach that wherever he went, whether it was college, spent a little bit of time in the pros with the Jets, not much. But he would always play the underdog. When he was at Notre Dame, which in the late 80s was one of these schools, they're still very good at football, he would come out and go, well, guys, I don't know if we're going to be able to play with them today. They are such a good football team. And their kids are so athletic. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. And then they'd go out and they'd win the 1988 Fiesta Bowl against West Virginia and go win a national championship and the whole bit. Nobody ever bought all that. They just didn't buy it. But he would run with it, and it would work with his kids somehow. And I don't know if they're big leaguers, man. They're big leaguers. It's the same league. Those dudes get paid. They drive the nice cars. The Dodgers don't fall for this shit. In fact, they've got their tuners up the entire way here.
I think the Dodgers might be the only team that it makes sense because, yes, the payroll is exorbitant. They have 4 MVPs, excuse me, on their roster. Mm-hmm. So, like, I get, like, you can sell that. Anybody in the league can sell that against the Dodgers. But then, you look at the roster, and they also have an MVP. Wouldn't surprise me if Jackson Chourio won an MVP at some point. He's a freaking monster. So like they have very good players. And again, they had the best record in all of baseball. The 6-0 thing against the Dodgers, Dodgers were super, super banged up at that point. So good if you're the Brewers, use that. If you're Dodgers, which Dodgers fans have pointed out to me a million times, we were so hurt. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's the postseason now. This is what means something.
Well, here's what I think you can do. I think that if you're Milwaukee, you can use aspects of those 6 games. You utilized your legs. You had 9 steals. You were paying the ass on the base paths. Use that. Push it against the Dodgers defense, right? It was the Dodgers who said when we played the Yankees, all we had to do was put the ball in play. Well, the Dodgers aren't a great defensive team, particularly in the outfield. So go take extra bases. Make Teoscar Hernandez make a throw. I mean, that's exactly the sort of game plan that helped them win all 6 games against the Dodgers that I think they'll continue to implement here. With all that being said, do you think it feels a little overwhelming for the Brewers or not? Because it's one thing to go square off against a team like the Chicago Cubs, who you distanced yourself against them, but you don't think at all.
Not at all. I do not buy that those guys in that clubhouse think they're the underdogs. Those guys in that clubhouse think they're the best team in baseball because that's what they are right now. They are until they get beat in the postseason. They're the best team in baseball. That's the truth. How could you not think that way? And I know the guys, a lot of guys in that clubhouse, and that's the message that they're going to send. Pat Murphy can say whatever he wants to the clubhouse and whatever he wants to the media. The guys in the clubhouse do not feel that way. They feel like absolute studs because they should. How are they not the best team in baseball?
Well, hold on. You think they're better than the Dodgers right now?
I'm saying, I think they're, like you said, there's aspects, yes, that they are better than the Dodgers. I think that they can say we are the best team in baseball, and nobody can take that away from them until they lose.
Okay, so who are you picking in this series?
I have the Dodgers win the whole thing, Chris. I stick with my preseason prediction.
Okay.
I didn't have the Brewers having the best record in baseball, though.
No. Well,
I had them in the playoffs.
well, I'll give you
my NL bracket right now, by the way, is perfect.
good for you. That's wonderful. Pat yourself on the back, why don't you? But take the whole, well, I picked him at the preseason, so I'm going to pick him. Just look at this series right now. Who's the better team?
Well, they do. I think they're very evenly matched. I think if you look, I think the Dodgers should be probably favored in this series. They're kind of like coming into their own. This is probably the best that they've looked all season long. Even like health and just having their guys ready to go. I think this is the best that they've looked. I think we could. There is a world where the Brewers come out and pest these Dodgers to death, then get the big hit where they could absolutely win this series. By no means is this like a Dodgers are going to win no matter what type of series. It's just not. That's not the case at all, Chris. Now, the Dodgers could come out and absolutely bang the ball around the ballpark and then get excellent starting pitching. Still kind of worried about their bullpen, which I thought they had figured out. They really haven't figured it out. Now, we'll see if they can pull a rabbit out of the hat with that, but I think that's the Brewers' entry into winning this series is keeping the game close and then getting to the Dodgers bullpen. Keeping the game close, getting to the Dodgers bullpen. I don't think they're going to outslug the Dodgers, but they can do the little things right at the end of the game to win games. What I see could happen with the Dodgers is they overwhelm offensively. We really haven't seen them out of that. Shohei has not showed up in the postseason. They're trying to figure out a way to kind of like see where he's going to pitch so he can show up. If they start going that way, then I lean the Dodgers pretty heavily in this series. But if they don't, which they haven't yet, I think the Brewers can absolutely win this series.
So Shohei 1 for 18, 9 strikeouts in that divisional round series against the Phillies. But he was one of like basically 2 Dodgers who had success against the Brewers this year. A 1-dotter, 3 homers and 22 at bats. But I expect he's going to see plenty of Ashby. He's going to see plenty of Koenig, is my guess. We don't even know who's starting game 1 at the time of this taping. We don't know who's starting for the Brewers yet. It'll be Blake Snell, who's been phenomenal so far in the playoffs for the Dodgers. They are well rested. They've got their pitching lined up exactly the way they want. It'll be interesting because I think Glasnow is going to start before Shohei in this series. So I think you take him out of 7th, 8th inning role. I think Emmett Sheehan, I think his role is amplified during this series. You're shaking your head. You don't like him right now?
I'm just saying that like the Dodgers, that's going to be their Achilles heel we've talked about it. That is their weakness. If you're the Brewers and you're saying, okay, how are we going to win this series? It's keep it tight,
right.
Get to the bullpen. Keep it
that
tight,
all makes
get
sense.
to the bullpen.
In fact, we didn't really talk about it, but the top of the Dodgers lineup, we talked about the Phillies lineup not getting it done. The Dodgers lineup, we kind of glossed over it because they ended up winning the series in 4. They've got to get cranking a little bit. Freddie Freeman didn't slug at all. So we'll see if it's the big if, but we'll see. We shall see. I am going to pick the Dodgers. I do think that they're playing better. I think they're an overall better team. But I would love to see it like 2018. I would love to see it get back to Milwaukee for a Game 7. That's what I'm rooting for most. I just think that the Dodgers would end up winning.
They have the team to beat the Dodgers. And people are going to be in our comments. Of course they do. They went 6-0. It's different in the postseason. They have the recipe to beat the Dodgers. They do.
Okay. Let's get back to the
picking the Dodgers.
eliminated teams from over the weekend. We're going to start with Chicago, which battled back in their series. We thought they were going to get swept. Didn't happen. They won games 3 and 4 at home and then lost the decisive game 5.
It hurts. This is never how you want things to end. I mean, it's painful, and as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great year. Really enjoyed this group a lot.
PCA basically in tears. That was Dansby Swanson before him. Okay, let's look back at the Cubs. Retrospectively, did this front office do enough at the trade deadline, or did they let the fan base down with not enough moves, and in the end that ended up costing them?
I like the trade deadline that they had. You know, the one thing I think a lot of people will point to is they needed a front of the line starting pitcher, and that would have been great for them. But like, not many of those guys moved. I guess you can call Shane Bieber one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know they were trying to get him. He ends up in Toronto. Who's the other guy? Merrill Kelly. Like, you can talk about him. Maybe he would have made a difference. But beyond that, then tell me if I'm wrong, there wasn't a lot of starting pitcher movement. So I don't know if that is the front office's fault, if the guys were not just available, or maybe the price was just, you know, huge and maybe they couldn't get a job done. Maybe they were putting offers out there. That's the thing that people always forget about with trade scenarios, that you could do all you want, but if the other team's just like not feeling what you got in your system, trades aren't going to happen. So I think that'd be the one thing that I would point to. But you went out and they got Kittredge, they got Rogers, they got my guy Willie Castro, which at the time I thought was a really, really good move for them.
Yeah.
He didn't really end up doing much.
Nothing.
Soroka comes over. He was good for them. So like they made moves, but if you're looking at for a front of the line starter, yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you could point to. And there just wasn't a lot of that happening. So I don't know if you could really fault them for that.
Right. We don't know. Now, I'll have to correct you on Soroka, because remember, he got banged up. He made an appearance and then he ended up on the shelf. He did come back for the playoffs, but really didn't help them out much. Rogers, I don't think even made the playoff roster, if I'm not mistaken. So it just wasn't consistent with their message in the offseason, which was, let's go trade for Kyle Tucker. And then it's like, you're just kind of halfway in. I think they had to go give up something. And, you know, they do have all these top 100 prospects, which who knows what they're stashing them for. But if you're not going to try and go do, heck, I would even have liked to see them go try and trade for your guy Duran. You know, give him another guy, because they ended up moving Palencia into the middle of the game to put out fires and to keep your team in it. And he did a wonderful job in that role. But then you're hanging on for dear life. I mean, Brad Keller did bail him out, but it just would have been another way to strategize trying to go forward. At the end of the day, the Cubs' first half was awesome because their offense was incredible, one of the best in baseball. And the second half just didn't show up. And in the playoffs, they didn't score enough runs. So at the trade deadline, we weren't talking about them adding a bat at all. And at the end of the year, you look back, and that's the bane of their existence, their lack of offensive output, whether it was against the Brewers where they came up short, or even the previous round where they had to hang on for dear life against the Padres. They just didn't score enough. And that's the way it is. So let's look ahead. The biggest deal is, what is going to happen to Kyle Tucker? Is it going to be one and done on the north side of Chicago? Here is the all-star right fielder.
Don't know what the future's going to hold, but, you know, if not, it's, you know, honor playing with all these guys, and, you know, wish everyone the best of luck, whether it's, you know, playing next year or not, for them. And, you know, it's a really fun group to be a part of.
I mean, holy shit, is that like a Dear John letter? I'm out of here, or what?
No, he's just not. He's not gonna what's the right word? Pigeonhole himself into saying, yeah, I want to be back. Like he's going to exhaust all of his options. I think this offseason is going to be fascinating because we do have the 2026 kind of labor agreement coming up. I'm curious how teams are going to view that and how much money they're going to spend because we have some big name guys, not just this year in free agency, but the next year in free agency. Talk about Tarek Skubal, we talk about Kyle Tucker. Like our team's going to throw money out and break the bank for these guys if they think a labor agreement or like a what am I looking for?
A work stoppage is
a
on
work
the horizon.
stoppage or anything like that's coming. I'm curious to see how free agency goes, but the Cubs are going to have to pay if they want him. There's no hometown discount with Kyle Tucker. That's
All right,
bottom
can we stop
line.
that. Here's a third phrase we can get rid of.
No,
is bullshit.
I believe in that. I believe in that.
This is not the Tony
you can't
Gwynn
look
days.
at your guy. You have a team that has a guy in a hometown discount, and he wanted to, and he said he took a hometown discount to stay there.
That's one guy. It doesn't happen.
It happens. It happens. I'm saying Kyle Tucker's not that guy.
Well, because also in part, Jose Ramirez was not heading to free agency. He had 2 years left on a deal when he got an extension. So the only team he could have extended with was the Cleveland Guardians.
I understand that, but a lot of guys would not sign that deal with the kind of career that Jose Ramirez has had and understanding what he can make in free agency. So there is such a thing as hometown discount. There is.
I don't think so. I think when it happens once or twice in a sport, that's not enough to make it a credible thing.
Well, if it happens, that means there is such a thing.
You're talking about like 0.08% of the players. That's negligible.
I don't know.
It just, does it happen? Yes.
A hometown discount also means like, hey, like if there's a $5 million gap in a contract and I like where I'm playing, that's also a hometown discount. Taking less money and staying somewhere is a hometown discount.
Who's the last free agent, full free agent, not guy who got an extension, that
we won't know that because we won't know what they were offered that stayed home. You don't know what they're offered outside of what they actually sign.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway, my gut tells me that he is somewhere else next year. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's somewhere else.
Agree with that. I don't know where, though.
In which case, did the Cubs screw this thing up?
No. Dude, they went for it. And only one team wins the World Series. I don't think they screwed this up at all. How could you say that? Like, they went for it. They went and made the trade. They put together a hell of a team.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. Cade Horton getting hurt.
That
really hurt them.
Yep. I agree.
If you're a
with
Cubs
you.
fan, I can't imagine you being disappointed in what the front office did this year.
I think it's easy blowback on them. But you're right. And as I said, the biggest shortcoming for them in the second half and in October was something that they weren't going to add to at the trade deadline anyway. So, I don't know, man. I think that's a tough way to look at it. Everybody wants reasons. Well, why did we fall short? Why did we fall short? Because you got beat by a better team in Milwaukee.
Look, and they had some regression from PCA. Like that's going to be he's got a lot of stuff to work on in the offseason. I know he tried to make some adjustments in his swing during the postseason. He'll continue that work in the offseason. He's going to come back ready to go. I guarantee, knowing his work ethic and knowing him. But yeah, you're right. It's like the offense didn't show up. And they were not going to go get another bat.
All right, so playoff season, we are right in the thick of it. So whether you're at a watch party or a tailgate or hanging with friends after the game, nothing levels up those moments like the refreshing tropical lime kick of Mountain Dew Baja Blast. That's right, Baja Blast. It's absolutely legendary. It's now available everywhere. You can grab a can or a bottle, bring that tropical flavor to your next watch party. So this postseason, whether you're hanging out with friends, you're rooting for your favorite team, you're grabbing food late night after the game, or at a fall tailgate for college football, grab something that'll really help it all tie together. It's Baja Blast. Do not wait. Grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast today. Taste the tropical refresh that takes every occasion to the next level. Find it now at mountaindew.com/finddew. All right, Tigers and Mariners. We haven't had a show since this epic battle. It was the longest in terms of innings played in a do-or-die game for both teams. Winner take all. The ebbs and flows, it was all over the place, and it ended like this.
Polanco sends it into right and will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series for the first time in 24 years.
Really remarkable stuff. Where did you watch that game at home? Because I actually went out to dinner that night. I got to dinner in the 6th inning and had a perfect view of the game on the wall, so I could be present with my friends and with Michelle, but also watch the game. And I got home in the 14th inning.
I watched it at my friend's house, Robbie. Shout out Robbie. We had the Shabbat dinner, and Joe Ryan ended up coming over. We watched it. It was great.
Very nice.
We were all kind of like the dinner was over, but the game was still on, so we just ended up hanging out a little bit later.
It was great. There was so much stuff that you could criticize with moves and taking guys out and not bunting and failure of execution. Teams had runners in scoring position and couldn't push it across. And it's just one of those games where I've been in those as a fan. It is exhausting. And I could only imagine when your season is on the line, like you're either moving on to the next round or you are going home, and I'll see you in February for spring training. It's gut, and it's one of those where as a fan, when it's done and you're a Tigers fan, you cannot sleep that night. You're staring at the ceiling and you're replaying moments in that game, and you're probably still doing it days later. And it's horrible. It's horrible.
It's tough for Tigers fans, no doubt about it. At least it didn't end like the way the Phillies-Dodgers game ended. Do you know what I mean? Like it was clean baseball the way it ended. Like that to me made it feel better. Like the Phillies fans are still saying like, what happened?
Were you surprised that Skubal was done after 99 pitches in 6 innings?
Gosh, honestly, I don't even remember when he came out. I mean,
it was right after this, right after he struck out Raleigh, and it,
Yes, okay, I remember that. I mean, I don't know. It didn't matter. The Tigers bullpen did their job. So,
well, they gave up the game tying run.
Sure.
But other than that, they were great until the 15th inning. I think when you heard Skubal give out that primal scream, I think that was to let everybody know I just emptied the tank. He's not a guy that goes 100. I mean, he goes like 105 pitches max. So for people who are like, why aren't you putting him out there again? That this is a do or die time. Who knows exactly what he had left, right? I mean, when you talk about guys, when they use that expression, empty the tank, which is one expression I don't want to get rid of.
Okay.
But when they say that, I'm sure you've been around pitchers where you can see it, like they are spent. It's over. Does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, they give that last little bit of adrenaline. They call it the adrenaline dump is a real thing, and you get that, and they're trying to work through it, and you find it somehow at the end of a game, and then it becomes your body just kind of can't handle it sometimes. So yeah, I've definitely seen it. Did Skubal do it right there? I'm not exactly sure. I feel like he's one of those guys that could just kind of find it whenever he needs it, but I don't remember having a problem at the time of them taking him out.
Well, it was great. You can share with us your favorite moment, what you liked most about the game. Tigers fans, if you're a little pissed off, is there something is there an opportunity you saw in the game where that's going to stick with you in the offseason? Let us be your therapy. It's okay. Somebody had to lose. It stinks for you guys that's who it was. Dan, I don't know. Do we have the Torkelson sound on their season? Let's see if we've got that.
Our floor has been raised, and we don't know what our ceiling is, and we're not satisfied making it to Game 5 of the ALDS. We want more, and this stings. But we've raised our floor, and we've created a new standard of what it should be like here, and we're gonna keep going.
I think it's pretty well said. I do think that if you're a Tigers fan, you know that you're living on borrowed time because Skubal is a free agent after this season. There's a lot of people I noticed.
Why? Why do you have to be living on borrowed time? Why can't we just sign this guy?
Because that's not in their history.
Make it. Like, this guy's different. Let's go.
What do you think the number would have to start with right now if he signed an extension a year before heading into free agency?
Gosh, how old? Let me just get his page.
I think he's 28.
He is 28, turning 29 November 20th. He's going to want a long deal.
This is what the number starts with. And I'm holding
I don't know if it has
4.
to start with that. I think it could be in the 3s somewhere. Whether it's going to be, it's 9 figures in the 3s and probably in the high 3s, or at least mid to high 3s. He's had success pitching there. I think you have to think about that too. Like at that point, that's a lot of money. Does he like living there? Does he like, his situation there? That does matter. And this could be that would be, to me, that would be a hometown discount. Would it be a hometown discount to you? Like say you signed a deal, $350 million. Is that a hometown discount?
I think with a year to go before he reaches free agency, I would say I think yes. I think that would be a yes, but we all know who his agent is, Scott Boras, for people that don't pay attention. So the likelihood of him not getting to free agency based on client history is not great.
I will say, look, think about this. This is a guy who was never he wasn't a top round pick, didn't get recruited much. What's college did he go to? I got it wrong the other day.
He went to Seattle.
Seattle University.
Right.
I said that the other day and someone was like, there's no University of Seattle. Isn't that the same thing? Whatever. I think, in his head, he's like, I can cash in right now and get all this money. There's something to be said about that. Does he have an insurance policy on that arm? Of course he does. Man, I mean, how do you know unless you flash the money in front of his face?
I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
Boras has what is it called? A fiduciary duty to put any offer in front of his face. He has to. Okay. So the Tigers, go make the fucking offer, dude. And see if you're Tarek Skubal, I know you're great. You're the best pitcher in baseball right now. If you see an offer come for that much money in front of your face, and all you got to do is take a pen, I got one right here, and go like this. And that's it. No matter what happens, the rest of your time playing baseball, you could be the worst pitcher ever, and you're still going to get that money.
Yeah, but I think he's going to get it regardless. Hey, you don't know. He could get hurt. Could play that card. Absolutely.
I'm just saying you don't know until you put the offer out there. So, at least give Tigers fans that you put the offer out.
Did you see the video of him with his kid after he did his bullpen warm-up? That was amazing. Like, we're thinking Game 5, season on the line. Look at this. He's like, hey, what's up, dude?
So good,
Let's hang out. How sweet is that? I love that.
That's a couple extra miles per hour right there. That's what that is, dude.
That's really cool.
Kids give you that purpose, man.
His last 5 starts. So this is while they were fighting it out for the division against Cleveland. So he had 2 regular season starts against Cleveland. Then he had another one in game 1 of the wild card round. And then he had 2 against Seattle. Here's his numbers. 32 1/3, 6 earned runs, 50 strikeouts. The Tigers went 1-4 in those games. 1-4.
No, I mean, yeah, the Seattle beat the Tigers 4 times this year with Tarek Skubal on the mound. That's wild.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible stuff. Here's the other thing. God, I know Tigers fans are going to be upset about this. Somebody is going to write an article. What could we get for Tarek Skubal if they make an offer to him over the offseason and he doesn't take it? Like the Mookie Betts from Boston to LA trade. Like the Juan Soto, San Diego to New York trade. Like, we know we're not going to re-sign him. We love him. We'll play it out if we have to, but what can we get to help our team get younger and more controllable while still keeping us? If they trade him, I mean, for God's sakes, I don't know what they do. That place will go nuts.
I'd be so mad, dude. That's like not what sports is supposed to be about. Let's not make our sport that.
Don't make our sport that.
It is that. I know. Let's stop making our sport that.
You're not going to stop as long as as long as the economics are the way that they are. You're not going to stop it because Francisco Lindor has to get traded from Cleveland before he just walks for a comp pick because Juan Soto
First
has
of all,
to get
none of this has to happen. I don't like when people say it has to happen. Guys have your owners, teams have enough revenue and money to sign players. They
but they
do.
don't
It's
without ruining their budgets. Every business has got a budget. I'm not here to support. I wish my team.
I could make you could make your budget. Like that is not their best budget for their sport. It's the best budget for them. So, and again, we can talk about this all you want about. I think you have to run it differently. A baseball business, a sports franchise should be run differently than, your small business that you run. Okay. Because your small business that you run isn't receiving taxpayer dollars to help your business. It's just not. And when we're building stadiums and we're getting shared revenue throughout the system, it's different. You can't run it. There is a you should have, and I truly believe this, like there is a responsibility to give back to the community when you own a sports franchise. It is not the same as running a small business. It's just not.
You and I are on the same page. And I also will, once again, this is the time of year where I think people should adhere to my thought process on this. Ownership should speak twice a year, should answer questions from the media, because whether you like the media or not, it's the best conduit we've got to the fan base. And it has to be at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season. You don't have to be truthful, but you need to at least face the questions. And if Mike Ilitch were still around, he was a guy that liked to spend money, that wanted to win. I think the conversation would be different. That's what I think. Quick shout out to our friends over at Nike. Playoff baseball, it is full throttle. There is no one more trusted to get you postseason ready than Nike. So go check out our affiliate link in the description below to shop amazing Nike postseason gear. Just got a new batch myself. With the weather maybe getting a little cooler, I can actually throw it on and wear it with my cool kicks. So I look like I'm styling, even though I'm a little older than the average bear.
It's going to rain here tomorrow.
What's that?
It's raining here tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Well, the good news is Game 2 of the NLCS will be in Milwaukee under a roof if need be. So we will actually tape Tuesday's show late night Monday. So for those of you that like it bright and early on the East Coast, it'll be available for you. Keep absorbing the content. We greatly appreciate it. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, who is hanging out with Joe Ryan these days. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast.